super skillful fighter, very talented fighter. And I talked about that, a while back. And I thought about this, if he wanted to go to 168 and he want to fight Canelo bad and Benavidez want to fight Canelo bad, if they can't get Canelo, they can fight each other. Benavidez and Crawford.
Whoa, wait a minute. Wow, for real?
I'm saying that both of you guys are chasing one fighter. If y'all feel like y'all chasing him and y'all can't get that fighter, then y'all should say, fuck it, we'll fight each other.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, Terence Crawford at 168 against David Benavidez, that's a hell of a fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 175.
David Benavidez isn't cheering over Canelo Alvarez's historic defeat. In fact, he's furious about what came after. The Mexican monster has finally reached his breaking point, firing back with a harsh reality check aimed straight at Terence Crawford for derailing the entire timeline and wiping out what could have been the biggest payday in the sport. Benavidez isn't chasing opportunities anymore. He's turning the tables with a single demand that leaves no room for negotiation and shifts the entire power dynamic. This isn't simple irritation, this is Benavidez announcing a new era, and he's making sure everyone hears it.
I think he was, referring to maybe if David could go and fight Crawford. Like, that's crazy.
To be honest, that would be even an embarrassment to me to say, David's too big for Crawford. Now we said that. Plus, you've seen Bo Mack also. They're not interested in David, Let's focus on what we have, and, I've been seeing a lot of weird things happening in boxing these days. We got Tank fighting Jake Paul. We got Terence Crawford fighting Canelo. We're focused on the fight that's coming.
You'd expect Benavidez to enjoy watching a rival get handed a defeat, but the situation is far more layered than it appears.
I didn't see it. I like Terence Crawford. I like his boxing skills, but I'm gonna admit, man, it was just too hard for me to give him a win, man.
In a recent unfiltered interview, Benavidez finally revealed what had really been happening behind closed doors with Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh. According to Benavidez, there was a verbal promise, a handshake deal that was supposed to change his entire future. The blueprint was clear. Canelo defeats Crawford, and the next move would be a massive showdown with Benavidez, the kind of fight that defines an era. But Crawford's upset victory shattered that roadmap instantly. Benavidez didn't hide his frustration, openly saying that Crawford's win threw everything off and wiped out the opportunity. It was one of those rare moments where a fighter admits that another man's triumph practically cost him millions.
The need for Benavidez.
Who, Canelo?
Turkey, people are talking about it.
Turkey hinted at that. He was like, Benavidez.
Yeah, he
Turkey,
did.
So.
Turkey just posted that this morning, wondering if Benavidez can make 168. Maybe he has plans or ideas of maybe trying to match up Benavidez and Terence Crawford.
No,
there.
man. No, they ain't doing that fight.
Maybe planning on vacating the belts?
No, we ain't gonna vacate the belts. We just gonna sit where we need to sit for a minute, and then, just like I said, get back in the gym and do our thing.
For now that the mega fight has been wiped off the schedule, the entire balance of power has shifted. For years, Benavidez was the one chasing the opportunity, doing everything possible just to lure Canelo into a ring. That chapter is officially closed. Benavidez made his stance unmistakably clear. He's the one in control now. As the WBC interim light heavyweight champion, he's finished training himself to make a weight limit for a fighter coming off a loss. His message is blunt and uncompromising. If Canelo wants the Mexican monster, he'll have to rise too. 175 Benavidez has no intention of returning to 168 and insists on fighting at the division he believes he's earned the right to command.
So we know that in your division, maybe it'll be Jabal or Crimea. We're all excited because now with Turkey on the street and the owners of the street, also Canelo and Crawford. Which would you prefer the winner of if there was even a possibility down the line now that you are,
To be honest with you, I don't think a fight with me and Canelo would ever happen at 168. I want to go back to 160. I'm good at 175. I'm world champion here. So if you'd want to come up to fight at 175, I'm all good with that. But right now, I can't live in this fantasy world where like, oh, maybe I'm going to get this fight, maybe this and that. I've done my job. I've done everything to get this fight. This is one of the biggest fights in boxing. I personally want to make it happen. I'm not going to waste my time trying to make a fight happen. It doesn't want to fight. So I'm just trying to fight these people who are really trying to fight.
With the Canelo showdown pushed aside, Benavidez has shifted his focus to a new challenge, Anthony Yarde. And let's be real, The motivation isn't only legacy, the payday is massive. Benavidez openly admitted that the Saudi offer for this bout was unbelievable. The kind of money you simply don't walk away from, but that doesn't mean he's showing up just to cash a check. True to his identity, he promised a war, and he delivered exactly that. The fight ended with a statement-making TKO, marking the 25th knockout of his career. Yet even after that dominant finish, Benavidez still labeled the performance as level, a reminder of how high he sets his own standards. It's a mindset drilled into him since childhood by Benavidez Sr., who never allowed complacency. Benavidez respected Yard as a live, dangerous opponent, a man fighting with desperation, which is precisely the environment where Benavidez feels most at home. He wasn't interested in a technical chess match. He came to inflict damage, bringing the relentless pressure and violence fans expect whenever the Mexican monster steps through the ropes.
We're excited, bro. We're right here. We're on this side of the street, Riyadh season, where all the big fights get made happen. And I'm excited to be here because I know I'm going to get these big opportunities after this fight. A lot of big opportunities are coming in. But first things first, I'm 100% focused on my fighter, Anthony Yard. I know he's a good fighter. He has a lot of experience. He's been in there with the best. But I'm just going to be too much for him. Right now, the moment where I'm at in my life, I feel like I'm a couple years away from taking over the sport of boxing. And I can't wait to do that and show the people who I am, show them how good I am. Like I said, there's a lot of great fighters on this side of the street, and I'm ready to fight all of them, and I'm ready to prove myself to the world and to the people that I'm going to be the best.
For years, Benavidez's entire journey felt overshadowed by the fight that never came together. The question was always the same: when will he finally get Canelo? But in a rare moment of honesty and growth, Benavidez admitted he's done obsessing over it. He's come to understand that boxing politics kept him stuck in place, waiting for something that might never happen. Holding out for Canelo wasn't building his legacy, it was slowing it down. So he made peace with the possibility that the redhead may never put pen to paper, and he made the decision to stop letting that possibility control his career.
And when the fights are being made, because I've been in a position from back then like Canelo Alvarez, we were trying to get that fight for years and years, and that fight didn't happen. So, I kind of learned learned how to block everything out, and I just prepare for what's in front of me, Like I said, I've been making a case that I want to fight the best fighters in the world, the best fighters in the division, and it's kind of hard to make those fights happen. There's a lot of politics that go in behind it, but little by little, one step at a time, I feel like we're getting to the moment where we want to get to, in my career. And, all these fights are starting to manifest itself. And like I said, if we don't get the fights now, we're definitely going to get them in the future. But as we wait for those big fights, this is a great fight to take meanwhile.
It's a mindset change that makes him even more formidable. He's no longer a contender sitting around for a champion's approval. He's a fighter forging his own path, with or without the sport's biggest names.
I'm not gonna be stupid and say, if I could get a fight with, Usyk, I gotta give the respect to the weight classes. They're there for a reason. But if I could get a fight with Surdo Ramirez, I think right now is the best time to make it happen, because I always knew there would be a possibility of fighting him, but now this is the best time to make it happen. Two Mexicans, and fighting, maybe we can make it in Las Vegas, in the United States after this fight. And honestly, what else does Surdo Ramirez have? I know they're trying to fight Opataya, but honestly, I'm a bigger name than Opataya right now because of what I've done in the fights I've fought. I'm not saying that I'm stronger or whatever it is. I've done the work. I've fought pay-per-views. I've put in the work. So I think it's solidified that me and versus Surdo Ramirez will be a bigger fighter than Surdo Ramirez versus Opataya. And then that's just in my opinion. No disrespect to Opataya or nothing. He's a great fighter. But I think it makes sense on both sides for me and Surdo Ramirez.
So if Canelo is no longer part of the equation, what comes next? The plan Benavidez laid out is bold and big. He explained that he may not stay at light heavyweight for long. Instead, he's already eyeing a jump to cruiserweight, where he wants to take on Surdo Ramirez and go after a pair of championship belts.
Then my plan is to get a fight with Surdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. It's just like, I've been calling for these big fights. I've been showing that I back up everything I say. You know what I mean? And I think, I've been held back a lot, not only because these other fighters, they know that they don't want to give me opportunity because they know what's going to happen. And I think that's more and more apparent day by day. So, like I said, if it's not with these big, if it's not with Beterbiev or Bivol, then we're trying to go after Surdo Ramirez. You know what I mean? And I want to reach greatness, and I think it's time to do that. And with the way everything is happening right now, I'm just grateful for Lord Jesus Christ and God Almighty and my father, my team, and everything is going great, and I'm extremely motivated, and I'm gonna accomplish everything I set out to accomplish.
He sees this as a huge step toward building a historic legacy, adding another division to his resume and proving himself in a weight class where strength and durability are everything. And once that mission is complete, he intends to return and challenge the winner of Beterbiev versus Bivol for the undisputed crown. Benavidez isn't chasing random matchups anymore. He's chasing chapters that will cement his place in boxing history.
In this weight division, 175 pounds, you have the undisputed champion in Dmitry Bivol, who's reigning, but he has we think a rubber match with Artur Beterbiev scheduled at some point. Has it been told to you, David, that like if you win this fight, you're gonna get a crack at either Bivol or Beterbiev?
I mean, yeah, it's not. They haven't told me specifically that, but just in the trajectory of what I'm doing, what I am, I'm world champion at 175 with the WBC, so it's inevitable. It's just when it's gonna happen. I take my career one fight at a time. I don't really let other fights kind of get into my brain. I'm getting ready for Anthony Yarde. I'm 100% focused on Anthony Yarde, and whatever comes next, comes next. But as for what I'm thinking of, that's what else is there left? What other fights do you guys want to see me fight? Especially that we're here with Turki Al-Sheikh. We're getting these fights done. In my opinion, a fight with Beterbiev or Bivol is next. And doesn't know, if I was a different type of fighter, I'd be like, I'm going to go talk to my team and see what's the best. No, the fights I want are Beterbiev and Bivol. Just because I want to challenge myself. I want to be the best without a doubt. But, sometimes in the business sense, things happen. So sometimes things are tricky, and it's a little bit more difficult than just making the fight happen. But like I said, I'm pushing to make the biggest and best fights happen. And
perhaps the most striking aspect of this new phase is the man himself. Fans have seen Benavidez grow up in the spotlight, and it hasn't always been a smooth ride. He candidly reflected on his early 20s, when millions flowed in and vanished just as quickly due to risky choices and poor habits. He also opened up about the darker periods, struggles with substances, and a lack of discipline that nearly derailed his career before it even had a chance to take off.
I mean, it was really bad decision and bad timing, when I decided to do it, I just, it happened, it needed to happen. When it happened, the people, I think it was just God, telling me I shouldn't be doing something because it was just a random drug test that ended up at my front door. But, I'm glad it happened, I'm not going to be making stupid decisions like that anymore. And not just only, it wasn't bad for me, it was bad for my family, all the bad publicity we got, I got a lot of hate mail on Instagram, but, it's just decisions should be made like that, And I just want to use it for all my fans, upcoming boxers that, that even think about doing that, it's going to hurt you a lot, Not only money-wise, but, everything's going to be stripped from you, your title, your reputation. So it might as well just avoid it, It's not worth it.
Yeah. How bad did it get? Like, was it something that you're doing all the time, or?
No, it was the first time, But it was, like I said, it was bad timing. It was really bad timing, but, it's just...
That reckless kid is a thing of the past. Today's Benavidez is focused, disciplined, and strategic, investing his earnings, building businesses, and maintaining control over his life. He attributes this transformation to his passion for boxing and the steady guidance of his brother, which kept him from falling off course.
I was really depressed for about 3 months, but it was my own fault, while I was suspended. So, it's just really bad timing, and, it shouldn't be done.
So that happens, the title has to, I believe, relinquish it, and then it's out there. You're saying that you were depressed a little bit. How were you able to build yourself back up and get through all that?
I know I'm better than most of the guys in the division, So after, I get stripped of my title, I get suspended, this and that, I just hear a lot of guys talking, but they weren't talking when I was right there, And that just led me, like I said, you live and you learn. I didn't kill nobody. It wasn't as bad as it was.
Do you feel that you should have been stripped or relinquished from it?
Yeah, I deserve to get stripped. Because the champion shouldn't act like that. But it's just, I know I'm better than most of these guys on my weight division. I just want to show the fans. And I'm just coming back stronger than ever, basically.
Talking about that relationship as well with your father, because we're seeing it a bit more of a common theme. Obviously, you're trained by your father, you've got Brian Norman trained by his father, Devin Haney by his father. Starting to see certainly at the elite level now, a lot of fighters taking that family route. Why do you think it is that there's so much success coming through in that aspect, and why are you and your father having so much success together?
I think it's better to have a father-trainer-son relationship because you're fighting for two people. back then when I was younger, I didn't only fight for myself. You know, I didn't really care about, and I was an amateur, nothing. I didn't care about nothing else when I'd go on the sparring sessions. I'd only care about making my dad happy or angry. You know what I mean? If I made him angry, he'd take me back home and freaking spank me for doing bad. So in that case, you know, you always gotta have something to fight for. You know what I mean? Now I fight for my family, fight for my wife, I fight for my children, my father, my mother, and my brothers and sisters. So it's easy to let yourself down if you're fighting for more people. You know what I mean? It gives you that extra energy to not let yourself down and not let your people down.
David Benavidez may have missed out on his dream night with Canelo, but he gained something far more important: his freedom. He's no longer chasing after opportunities that may never materialize or relying on fragile handshake deals. Instead, he has a concrete plan, a massive payday lined up in Saudi Arabia, and a clear roadmap to becoming a multi-division world champion. And a twist of fate: Terence Crawford didn't destroy Benavidez's career. He may have actually freed him from waiting indefinitely. So the big question now is this: with Canelo behind him, does Benavidez have what it takes to dominate the cruiserweight division and establish himself as boxing's new face?
Had any assurances that, whether it be from Turkey or from your team, whoever it may be, that a fight with a Bivol or a Canelo is next? Have you had any conversations?
There's been no assurance for the past 3 years, you know, especially I was number one trying to fight Canelo. I was number one my last fight to fight Bivol. So there's no assurances, you know. I take every fight, every performance one fight at a time, you know what I mean? So my mind is 100% focused on Anthony Yarde, and whatever comes next, comes next.
Do you think they're avoiding you?
I think with Beterbiev and Bivol, the timing is just wrong for them. You know, Bivol just had a back surgery, then Beterbiev wants to get the rematch with him. So, I mean, I can understand that. I wouldn't say they're scared of me, but I would say Canelo's scared of me 100%.
That's it for today. If you loved this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're always up to date. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Stay tuned, because the next video is going to be even bigger.